Welcome to the John McAllister Report, where John McAllister, top football evaluator, interviews college and high school coaches and athletes from around the country. Sit back and enjoy today's podcast.
Hello, this is John McAllister, and welcome to the John McAllister Report. And today we're going to dip into the coaching ranks and talk to one of the most winning coaches down in southwestern Ohio. Maurice Harden finished the year 10-0 at Xenia High School, 10-0 and first year. So that's so impressive to me. And now they got beat. They were beaten in the first round of the playoffs. But like I've told him, and don't let that one loss ruin your whole season. Something to build on. They have quite a few players coming back, and I am really excited to talk to Maurice Harden about football, what it takes, what it took him to be a head football coach. And so if you sit back and enjoy my video podcast with head football coach at Xenia High School, Maurice Harden. Okay, like I said earlier, my guest today is Maurice Harden from Xenia High School, and Maurice had a pretty good football season last fall. Got beat in the playoff, but I want him to tell you about his football season, and then we'll do a lot of other things. Maurice, how are you?
I'm good, John. How are you?
I'm always good. I'm 74, man. I'm still above ground. Tell me about the football season.
Football season was great. Obviously, we didn't end the way we wanted to, but I can definitely say that there's been a growth and development of our program. There's an expectation that's been set. My mantra this year was brick by brick, and we continued that by saying that we wanted to kind of lay the foundation for what is meant to be a successful program here at Xenia. I think we did that this year. I think our kids understand from a schematic standpoint what we were wanting to do offensively and defensively. It was our first off season with the kids. When I got hired, it was around February, March.
Right.
We weren't able to kind of have a full off season and really kind of develop the kids the way we wanted to. They were in a triple, they're running the triple wing T kind of offense, and then you're trying to change that from a power spread offense where we're using gap scheme runs with spread concepts out on the perimeter and throwing second and third level RPOs and things of that nature. Very different concepts, very different scheme. So they had to understand that and understand just how I wanted to do things and understand how our coaches want to do things.
You got to teach your coaches or coach your coaches as well.
Yeah. So just trying to get everybody on the same page was the biggest thing for us. So the fact that we had that off season, second year in the system, coaches understanding expectations and knowing what to do gave us the opportunity to have the season that we had and put us in some really advantageous positions to be successful.
Now, first of all, you haven't told me what your season record was, regular season. Nobody knows that. You haven't said that yet.
We went 10-0.
And the other thing, first of all, I got to tell you, Xenia. Now, if I say Xenia, that's because my good friend Ed Memory would always go crazy when I said that. When I did a little background, when you took the job, and you talked about accountability.
Yeah.
Okay. What does accountability mean to you?
Accountability to me means that you're going to be responsible for yourself and your actions, and you're not going to do anything that's going to be a hindrance to the team. So kids showing up, right? Showing up in the weight room, being there every day, coming to every summer workout, coming to every running session, being on time at school, being on time when it comes to our study table stuff, being on time when it comes to practice and all the little things that we do. It allows us to be able to have the success that we had. I always say, for me, the football piece is a byproduct of what you do off the field.
Right.
It's a byproduct of your willingness to be committed to the cause and doing all the little things the right way. So the more accountable of a team you have, usually the better off that you'll be. I credit that to looking at our GPA this year. So, we went 10-0 this year, but to correlate that, we had a 3.5 GPA as a team.
Wow. That's really good.
Which is the highest it's ever been as well. So we were focused on doing the little things off the field the right way, and that constituted us going out and having a very, very successful season.
For heaven's sakes, you walked your talk.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're fortunate. I don't mean fortunate in a bad way. You walked your talk, and that's really good. And that's got to be so convincing. Okay, you played for Jim Place, and I didn't know that until you told me that at CJ.
Yeah.
Jim Place is one of the most revered guys in Southwest Ohio, if not the whole state.
Absolutely.
And he's a good friend of mine. We go back a long, long time, and we always joke about it.
Yeah.
So you came the hard way, okay? You've come up the hard way.
Yeah.
I mean, you did things like I did. I worked for a small college and made nothing almost.
Yeah, I remember them days.
But I got to tell you what, I got a lot of interviews for head football jobs coming, but I've been there with you. And let's talk about, where did you played? You went to CJ, and then you went to Urbana?
I went to Urbana University. I played fullback in college, 4 years starting fullback while I was there. During my time there, we won 2 conference championships in 2010 and 2011. I got my degree in exercise science. When I got done playing, I always knew I wanted to coach. I always knew I wanted to be a head high school coach. So the fact that I was able to start kind of my life's dream, and purpose at a very young age was super, super exciting for me. So I started being a graduate assistant when I got done playing. I coached running backs. I was a strength and conditioning coordinator my first year, and then end up formulating myself into being the run game coordinator as well, and really started to learn the nuances of offensive line play. Playing fullback, obviously, you kind of learn some of that, right? But really digging in the nooks and crannies and the little idiosyncrasies became something I wanted to do as a coach. So came to run game coordinator, finished up my 2 years. I got my master's in education. And then when I got done, I had a choice to either go and continue my goal of coaching in college or moving down to high school, which is what I wanted to do. But at the time, the goal was all right, you're coaching in college, you're enjoying it, right? Let's see how far you can take this thing. And I ended up getting a teaching job down here, down in Dayton. This is where I'm from, born and raised. So I was able to do that. And then at the time, I was trying to get back to CJ, tried to get back with Marcus Colvin, who I also played for. He at the time was fully staffed, so I didn't have a place to go at the time. So where do you go? You go call the man, the myth, the legend. I called Coach Place, went over Stratmore Road, got down that basement, and we just started talking. And he sent a email out to everybody in Ohio Football Coaches Association in Miami Valley. Told them about me and told them about, me trying to find a job and an opportunity. And got a couple of calls back. One call I got was from Roy Toby. So Roy called me, said, I got an offensive coordinator. Yep, got an offensive coordinator spot for you, along with coaching running backs. It was something that worked out for me. I was super, super thankful for the opportunity coming straight out of college, still being young, right, and still getting that opportunity at a very young age. I really loved me some Roy because he believed in me. I was very raw coming out of college as far as the transition from coaching in college to coaching in high school is a little different because you don't have the same amount of time that you do in high school. So you have to really say, okay, what are the 4 or 5 things I really, really want to get good at? And then I'm going to hone in on doing those 4 or 5 things really, really well. In college, you got all day, John. You can meet with them in the morning, meet afternoon, night. You know what I mean? They pretty much are yours. Whereas in high school, you got
time, oh,
yeah,
a lot of time, coach.
a lot of time. But in high school, that time is minimized. So you have to figure out, what am I going to get the most out of them? And that helped me out so much, because my first year being at Fairborn, you come from college, you got all these different ideas and all this stuff that you want to do. And right. And you got this big old package, that you're trying to put in. And then at the end of the year, right, I looked at it and I said, not only were we average in a lot of these things, but some of this stuff I ain't even get to. It made me reevaluate myself and say, okay, in order for you to be the best version of yourself, what are some changes that you're going to have to make? And, that was one of the things that I learned being at Fairborn and being with Roy, was you got to kind of minimize what you do. He used to always say, like, Mo, I think you're great. And I think you got some great ideas, and, you do some really good stuff, he said, but you can't do everything. So learning how to minimize that was super, super helpful. And then at the time, Marcus Colvin gave me a call because he was making some changes with the staff. He said, I know you wanted to come back, and, we're going to, work some things out. And lo and behold, I was able to get back to CJ, which meant a lot to me, to be back, go work for Marcus, was his OC. Like I said, did some stuff. Myself and Coach Valentine worked together to kind of really formulate our offense, which is kind of what everybody sees today as far as what we do.
Right.
And it paid off dividends for us. Our first year we went 6-4. And then that off season was super, super huge for us, because that's where we got the buy-in and the accountability piece of what I'm talking about, of kids buying in and believing in your system and believing in what you're doing. Went off 2017, went to the regional final. And then at the end of the 2020 season, I, got a phone call from Xenia talking about they wanted me to interview, and, and I went on ahead and I put my information in, and I was like, all right, let's just see how it goes. And lo and behold, I was blessed and fortunate enough to get the position, a position that, to be very honest with you, John, I did want. I teach out here in Greene County. I'm the exercise science instructor at the Greene County Career Center. And one of my friends asked me one time, he said, Mo, if there was a school in the county, what's the one place you think you would want to connect yourself with? And I've always said this. I said it would be Xenia. I said I thought that if I was able to get to Xenia and kind of put my mark and kind of put my expectations and kind of what I wanted to do there, I said I think that that's a place that not only you can win, but you can win for a very long time, and it could be sustainable and build it into what I thought it could be.
What did you see, and we're going to move along, what did you see at Xenia that, give just me a couple minutes on, what did you see there? What was your feeling there? What was your gut telling you?
Well, I've lived in a community now about to be 3 years. Okay. So for me living here, I saw how much football means to the community. Right. Football matters here. So along with it mattering to the community, it matters to administration. I was like, it matters to everybody. That's the first thing. So having buy-in was something I was like, that'd be easy to attain, obviously doing the right things and allowing yourself to have some time. But you have that. You got a great mix of athletes. It's a very diverse community, which is what I am used to, and something that I enjoy, to be able to have kids that are from different ethnicities, different backgrounds, right? And you kind of mesh it all together and make it work. So those are probably the two biggest things that would like a draw for me to Xenia. And the fact that, to be honest with you, John, me working at the Career Center, I see those kids a lot. I see the kind of athletes, I see the kind of kids that I could be working with. So I was like, this is just an exciting opportunity for me. So when it came up, I was excited. I put my name in the hat. It was something I always wanted to be. I always said I wanted to be a head coach. So the fact that I get to live out my life's dream and I get to do it at a place that I want to be at. I live in the community. I teach in the community. It's a match made in heaven, if I had to be honest with you.
Super. Okay, I have one more question. I taught for 31 years. And what is sports exercise science.
Yeah. So students that are interested, that's all good. Students that are interested in my program are individuals that are looking into personal training, physical therapy, and athletic training. So those are the three areas that we really focus on. In the beginning of the semester, we spend a lot of time in the classroom. We get to work with a group of special needs students, our Career X kids, which is really great for us because you don't always get a chance to work with athletes. You got to learn how to work with general population and make accommodations to exercises. So we do that. Their senior year, I'm real big on real life work experience. So we have a couple of YMCAs that our kids work as fitness counselors. We got some physical therapy clinics where they get observation hours. And then at Xenia, shout out to Tyra, who is our athletic trainer. She also does the internships for Kettering Health Network. Our students are able to shadow and work as student assistants for all sports.
So huge. That's huge, Coach.
It's beautiful.
It's huge. It's a huge program. Tell me about applying for jobs, okay?
Okay.
Any assistant coach.
Gotcha. I think assistant coaches applying for, you talking about head coaching jobs?
Assistant coaching jobs, just getting started.
Gotcha. I think when you look at jobs in general, I think sometimes guys look at the title and not necessarily the fit. That's what I have learned. That just because that's a job that looks like it would be good for you, you need to make sure that it's the right fit. You're the right fit for that community. That head coach is somebody that's going to help you grow. It's a place where you're going to be able to learn and really understand all the nuances of trying to run a successful program. So I just really would say, if you're looking for a job or you're interested in jobs, really do your homework and really figure out, like, okay, is this a place where I can grow? Is this a place where I can see myself really having success? And really spend some time on evaluating the situation.
Okay, Coach Tressel years ago said, it's not necessarily where you work to move up, it's who you work with.
Yeah.
Especially on the college level, well, in high school. The other thing I would say, I want to close with, I give the kid, I've done this for over 30 years. Mm-hmm. And when we started, we're going to go African American now.
Okay.
I mean, we've talked about it. And when I started, and this is no slam to anybody, okay? Mm-hmm. But there'd be like, I go to the city schools primarily, and there'd be like 10 coaches. Mm-hmm. And I'd be on the sidelines with these guys, and I knew them. But most of them were neighbors or friends because they couldn't, in the city I'm talking about. So it was so tough on kids. But even like down in Dayton, some of those guys, who's a kid I just read about, his friend or brother died, Copeland. Mm-hmm. He's back in the community. And I think it's so huge and I give him my 3-minute speech, for young African-American coaches to come back to the community and coach. Because they've been there, most of them are educated, and they know how to handle kids, African-American kids. Now, what do you add to that? What do you want to tell assistant coaches? And how do you want to add to what I just said?
I want to just say, to your point, I definitely think it's important for African-American coaches to be on staffs. I think having African-American coaches on your staff gives people a different perspective. It gives some of and I'm just speaking for myself, it gives your African-American players somebody they feel comfortable with, somebody they feel that they can explain something to that maybe you may not understand because of the background, because of your ethnicity. I just think that it's very, very important to have minorities on your staff, and make sure you have a balanced staff. And when I say balanced, I'm talking, guys from different backgrounds, guys from different places, because kids don't care about how much you know to know how much you care.
Yeah.
And in order to be an effective coach, John, you have to be able to relate to your players. Your players have to look at you and say, I can relate to that guy. I believe in that guy. That guy understands me. That guy believes in me. That guy can help me through these situations because that's what he's been in, right? So to me, I just would say minority coaches, have to be present. They have to be on staff. They have to be they got to be given opportunities.
Accountable. And they need an opportunity. And I think that's getting better and better. Now, last year, and let's cut to the chase. Obviously, you're an African-American head football coach. How, Maurice, do you give for coaches, young African-American coaches trying for that head football job? What do you suggest? What do they do?
I first would just say, be organized, be structured, have a plan, have things set so that, when you do get your opportunity or do get, an opportunity to interview and things of that nature, that you have things in place and that you do a good job as an assistant. Like anybody that I've ever worked for, I wanted them to say, that's the best assistant I had, whether I was black, whatever the case may be, just do a great job where you are. And I would say just spend as much time as you can learning the different nuances outside of football, because as a head coach, you spend more time working on non-football stuff than you do football, right? So learning how to do a schedule, learning how to communicate with parents, learning how to do a budget, just all those things. I think at times, African-American coaches and minority coaches and young coaches in general, you're so busy focused on your craft, which you should be, as far as coaching your position, learning the scheme, the X's and O's, which is great. However, if you want to move into that head coaching role, you have to learn the different nuances of the administrative part of it in order for you to do it effectively. And I give Marcus Colvin a lot of credit, for that. That is my guy, John. That's
Marcus Coleman. He's never there. I see him at baseball games, the University of Dayton basketball games.
Absolutely, as he should.
I'm joking with you.
You ain't joking, John, because that's the truth.
He's down at Dayton. He's down at Cincinnati Bengals baseball games.
I'll tell you this though: the reason why he can do that, and it's something that I had to learn this year, and I'm being dead honest with you. You know why he can do that? Because he properly delegates things, and he has people in place that he trusts.
Yeah.
So quick story. So my first year as head coach last year, I still wanted to put my hands in everything. So not only am I helping with transportation, doing the buses, doing the food, getting with the touchdown club and figure out all the meetings, I still call the offense. So I'm still trying to break down the film and all that. I'm sitting in this seat that we are currently talking in and fell asleep. It's week 9. We're about to play West Carrollton. I fall asleep in this chair, and I was like, in order, I'm gonna use a line from Coach Place. In order for me to give the kids and the coaches what they need from me, I got to stay fresh.
Yeah.
Fresh. And in order for me to be fresh, in order for me to be the best version of myself and give the kids what they need and my coaches what they need and the community what they need, I have to be able to delegate some things and allow people to work and allow them to learn how to do things so that we holistically can be successful.
That's really good, Coach. I really respect you, and I really appreciate your time and joking about some of these guys that I've known. I'll tell you, I told you earlier, Dayton's always good to me. Always, the coaches are always good to me. Really respect all that you've done, Coach. Okay?
Thank you.
I hope you have a great off season and good next year.
Absolutely. Okay? Looking forward to it. Appreciate you, John.
Thank you, Coach.